Chapter 7. Business-Government Dynamics in the Global Economy.
Drew Martin and Loren M. Stangl.
Introduction.
When analyzing foreign market opportunities, a major pitfall is making incorrect assumptions about a country's external environment. Managers tend to assess foreign market conditions using a self-reference criterion, thus unconsciously referencing their own values and experiences when appraising new environments. However, decisions based on self-reference criterion limit a manager's ability to accurately assess foreign market conditions. In the United States, business decision-makers tend to follow neoclassical economic assumptions about how businesses and government affect competitive market conditions. Yet, the roles businesses and governments play in the marketplace vary by country, by industry, and over time. Capitalism comes in many shapes and sizes with no dominant form. This chapter develops a four-cell model of business-government relations to explain differences that marketers encounter in foreign environments. The model contributes to research on varieties of capitalism, VOC, by framing the discussion around foreign entry decision-making criteria. This chapter advocates that managers approach foreign market opportunities with awareness of personal bias and openness to various business-government configurations. Strategy recommendations offer possible solutions for the various economic conditions. Interdependencies between business organizations, industrial sectors, and economic institutions vary by country and evolve over time. For firms considering international expansion, competitive advantages and awareness of industry competitive structure may not be enough for success. Firms need to understand the underlying mechanisms that define the business-government dynamics within the home and host countries to effectively create successful international strategies. 1. The strategy tripod approach considers firm, industry, and institutional perspectives to create a holistic evaluation of foreign market opportunities. As such, a strategy tripod approach considers the embedded nature of strategic decision-making in international business environments. 2. Integrating the resource-based view, 3. Industry-based view, 4. And institutional theory. 5. Into a single perspective. The strategy tripod approach recognizes that a firm's embedded environment affects both domestic and international strategies. 6. This chapter advocates an awareness of both home and host country institutional environments as preconditions for firms considering international expansion. Institutional theory builds upon the recognition that firms operate within a social framework representing a country's idiosyncratic economic, social, and political history. A country's institutional matrix includes formal institutions, for example, laws and regulations, and informal institutions, for example, social norms and shared cultural beliefs. Institutional theory also recognizes that interacting regulatory, normative, and cultural cognitive forces support and maintain stable behavior. Regulatory forces establish the rules of the game by which firms operate. 8. In contrast, social norms and values define proper 9 and admired behavior. 10. Cultural cognitive forces relate to preconscious cultural behavior affecting regulatory and normative conditions. 11. DiMaggio and Powell maintain that institutions exert pressure on both firms and individuals to conform through coercive, imitative, and normative expectations. 12. In addition, the government's cooperation or involvement directing economic growth and facilitating international trade also develops as part of the institutional matrix. As a result, expectations regarding appropriate business-government interaction and cooperation vary by country. Globally, various capitalist configurations exist that display complementary firm institutional environments. 13. Institutional theorists debate whether isomorphic forces shape homogeneous firm strategies based on a country's institutional comparative advantage, or heterogeneous firm strategies coincide and thrive within any given institutional architecture. 14. In either case, Institutional theory recognizes that national environments operate differently and the firm's domestic environment influences firm strategy. Business relationships with government-directed economic institutions develop through repeated interactions based on historical events and cultural expectations. Economic institutions both enable and restrict firm activities. 15 According to Boyer, firms' organizational choices are actually informed and constrained by the overall institutional architecture, not the other way around. 16. Hall and Soskis support this proposition by contending, in some, and in many respects, firm strategy derives from institutional structure. 17. This line of thinking advances the notion that institutional expectations become embedded in the firm's organizational activities. For example, China and the United States have different ideas about the role of business and government. The Chinese government takes a more obvious and active role in business planning, whereas the U.S. government attempts to follow a laissez-faire approach to business activity involvement, until forced to intercede. For example, the recent financial crisis,